burst themselves. That mid jungle hits level 6 and someone's losing their head.
That's it. And Syndra obviously scaling ultimate ability there as well, doing so much work and damage. It has to be respected. I mean, Caps is the best in the West, as they say. So FURIA, are they going to respect this Syndra, or are they going to all in him and take him out of these fights quick, smart? But their composition, right, they've got a bit of dive. Camille, dive. Lee Sin can get around those back lines. But Jhin wants to sit all the way at the back. So it's almost like you guys frontline while I try and deal the damage to this Syndra, to this Leona. But Leona, one of the tankiest supports you can find, she's going to be a tough nut to crack as these last bans have come through. Cleared. That's respect to BB.
BrokenBlade came off a monstrous Game 5 win against T1 to knock them out of MSI with a 15-kill cleared. It was magical. Of course, the series to follow, perhaps a little less magical for G2. We're looking to perhaps channel that initial victory here, and they're looking potentially for the Gnar here, having taken out the Vayne, having taken out the Rumble. Of course, on the other side, see what Guigo can look to lock into the Gnar.
One thing that I am loving about these jungler picks too as well is that they're both very aggressive, obviously, but they're not Jhin Zhao. We've seen Jhin Zhao a lot across the world. So these guys, they're not letting themselves be defined by the meta. They're definitely going with still strong picks, but things that they're a bit more comfortable with as well.
And at least at MSI, from what we saw, the Jhin Zhao wasn't really a Game 1 pick anymore. It feels like enough of the nerfs have come on through that he's just fallen down that priority ladder a touch more for things like the Vine, for things like the Naafiri, and actually debating doing what BLG just did and locking in a publicly perfect execution pairing.
Yeah, absolutely. Public and perfect execution. You said it
I hate this. Every time I conflate the two, it's a disaster as a play-by-play, I tell you.
So which one has which ult? Because we're going to need to know this. But Galio, I like this choice. Galio, a strong, locked in. Another frontliner,
though. Is that Syndra bot, then?
It could very well be, yeah, because Galio is mid lane, being able to global and help the team. I love this. They're going to play through sides.
And one of the big things here as well is there's been some questions about, does Hansama play the Mage's bot? He's locked in a Syndra here. He's clearly feeling confident enough to come in here at EWC. The first game, they're locking the Syndra. You've now got Naafiri, Galio with a Leona to go diving on to some of these potentially more dangerous carries, or potentially responding to things like that Ambessa, things like that Camille coming diving on in. Because the other side, you look at FURIA and we were saying, hey, look, they had some close games against Lion, but it was the late game team fights where they couldn't quite get over that execution barrier. That doesn't look particularly late game to me with the Lee Sin and the Camille. They want to get rolling in that mid game real fast.
And FURIA's composition is so high damage.
Yes.
That is damage for days. Whereas G2, they've kind of respected the traditional draft. They've got some solid frontline and sacrificed a bit of that damage. But this is Caps we're talking about on the Galio. He's going to be able to protect those damage dealers. So it's that trade-off. We're going to need to see how both of these teams play this one out, because they both have dive elements, but the shorter range of G2 means they're going to be much closer to that fighting than the Jhin from FURIA.
Yeah.
That could be the difference maker, that range differential.
And another potential caveat to this as well is I wonder whether G2 play this as a counterpunch, and they say, we see you all dive in, get Leona ulted, get Galio ulted, get Naafiri W'd, and then we go back in, because I think there is a very real world here where if FURIA don't pull the trigger at the correct time, where they get a little over-eager to make those plays, the punish that could come in from the global of the Galio, from the Naafiri ulting and from the Leona going, absolutely not, eat a solar flare, that could get really dangerous too.
These are going to be explosive all-in fights.
Yeah.
No matter which way you go with it, neither of these teams...
I feel like that might be a touch of an understatement, but you know, who am I?
Well,
who am I to judge?
I come from the LCP, right? So, like, if these guys get a kill a minute, I'm going to be like, yes, we're on.
Oh, boy.
But both of these compositions, they really want to fight. It's just how they're going to set up again. We are here on Summoner's Rift for game one of this best of one between FURIA and G2 here at EWC 2026, and already they're showing face in the mid lane.
Oh yes, and again you win. You go towards an upper bracket best of 3, which is great news. You lose, you're not quite done, but that lower bracket best of 3 is a little more alarming to say the least of it. Fighting over these level 1 wards. FURIA will clear that one out relatively swift. You can see that, of course, JoJo starting off there with the sweep, but of course not to be confused with JoJo Pure. And if we see those two teams fight off, we're going to have to be much more careful about our phrasing.
What I really, really like there is Hansama just chipped away at IU over the wall blind, right? And that speaks to the level of play these guys have. the seconds. He was counting down in his head. He's like, you walk this fast, you will be here, I'm going to chip at you and get a little bit of a lane advantage, which is so important in these early stages as they start to skirmish on that bot side.
And again, there are going to be a lot of questions about G2 because we saw some real high highs from them at MSI. That victory against T1 will go down in European history. The series that followed against Lion was a real disappointment.
It will also go down in history.
Stop! Oh, yeah, and then that gets tricky because again, on top of that, there's been the backroom staffs, Dylan and Perk switching up a little bit there as well. So it means that there's quite a lot of eyes on G2 to see what we get from them. And we've already got a little bit of a different look in that drafting phase with that Syndra and stuff coming on in, see where they feel like here. And again, for FURIA, I got to chat with some of the CBLOL English casters. Shout out to Trajan and stuff as well, who was giving me some of their notes and their thoughts on what they thought about the MSI perspective from someone who's a big CBLOL fan. Put a lot of time into these teams, saying, look, frankly, really happy that they did a good job. They turned up and did them proud, but there was just this issue was like, maybe in years past, you could have said, look, the hands were there, but the game sense wasn't quite. This time, it was just really difficult to win games against the top teams, and there was a little bit of like, frankly, just getting out-executing those late-game team fights. See what happens here, though, with some violence occurring. I'm yapping away, and Labrov is being dropped real low. FURIA looking to show exactly what hands they've got.
That's it. We saw Labrov there burn both summoners, but critically, Hans Sama stepped up and took the deadly flourish from IU, protecting Labrov, preventing that first blood going over. Because as we were talking, we saw on the top side here, BrokenBlade had Guigo pushed in, and another skirmish in this mid lane. Caps has that. What's interesting here is that both of these are melee mid laners, right? So there's no ranged advantage over melee advantage. It's we're just going to be brawling the whole time. But critically, these junglers, right? Currently both on the top side. However, SkewMond will be spotted recalling. So now FURIA have the information that the jungler not out on the rift.
Here comes everyone. Hang on. This gets spicy. Tutsz goes in with that Shuriken flip. 3v2 and Labrov being around does need to get out, does Caps and survive, but that teleport comes with an additional summoner cost.
That's it. Both summoners burnt there for Caps. It was going to be a 3v1. It ended up being a 3v2, so it was much harder to get that coveted crown off of Caps, but the flash well spent to escape there as this top side, they're skirmishing. They want to get these stacks up. Guigo critically, the grasp.
Okay, this game we are definitely cheering for
the
G2.
junglers
again, we see SkewMond around that mid lane trying to potentially get the flash out of Tutsz on this Akali because flash is so important.
And again, for FURIA, you are the team with the Lee Sin, with the Camille, with very volatile lanes, lots of setup, lots of playmaking. They are being active. It's what we wanted to see from a graph like this, and they're not playing slow, they're not playing conservative right now, they're trying to make the moves happen. Logan just pointing out the fact that Labrov was recalling on a warp. It doesn't look like we're going to see the interrupt as it stands. But thank you for pointing that out. I appreciate you, mate.
Of course. I mean, we all have to help each other out here, but it will be seen. So that's information given over for free, which is not something you want to be doing. You don't want your opponents to know that they're up a middle lane because that's when these plays can happen. That's when junglers, if they're on the right roam timers, can get those ganks down. As we see Guigo and BrokenBlade, JoJo in the top side, already having roam from the bot, walking up, spotted on a ward.
Can JoJo get on in here? Misses that hook shot, and BB just steps on it.
So chill with that one.
Casual.
Yeah, BB does not have two left feet. This man has a left and a right, and he's taken dance lessons. Well, it's baiting it out, right? If he can delay JoJo, if he makes JoJo want to stick around, he still has the flash, so he has the confidence to get out of a 2v1, but JoJo goes topside, wastes a little bit of time, recalls back out onto the rift.
And I was chatting with Jamada a little bit before, and he was doing some really great breakdowns on why we're seeing so much support roaming, because catch-up XP is incredibly busted from about 8 minutes on, so you can just spend the first 5 to 10 minutes roaming around and just rely on the 8-minute catch-up XP to get yourself back in. Allows people like JoJo to go looking for moves like that.
And speaking of looking, the Drake is up. So it will be which jungler wants to get there first. We do see that G2 has vision around that Drake pit though, so they will get that information if FURIA decide to go for it. But the rate these two are scrapping.
BB might have to be a little bit careful here. He's about to go mini and misses his ult. Does clear the wave. Does Guigo want to look on this mini Gnar timing for the public execution? There it is. Forces the flash. Wondered whether we might be looking on that one, and Guigo does get a little bit extra.
I would say that ult for BB's flash, absolutely worth, because Gnar without a flash, it's almost impossible to get those excellent angles on those ults, those team stuns.
And again, this is a composition from both teams that loves that level 6. The ult buttons are absolutely glorious for pretty much every champion in the game here.
Yeah, absolutely. Sama, though, doing well on this Syndra, maintaining that CS, just getting a little bit of poke on IU, which is why we're seeing both of these supports roam a bit. We've obviously seen JoJo roam a bit more than Labrov at the moment, but I think Labrov might be trying to play patient, protect Syndra while they're getting this up. Caps, though, making a play.
Does go looking. SkewMond's around. Has got that ability to call up the hounds if required. Tatu and JoJo in, though! Hook, shot, and sinker!
That's it. FURIA showed up. They brought more men. They got there quicker, and they take out Caps. Solid. First blood over to FURIA. They'll net themselves that bounty gold as well off the first blood. So they find themselves 1,000 gold up over G2. However, the rest of the lanes, it's kind of normal at the moment. We've got most of these summoners down.
Hang on. JoJo went looking. Oh, that got spicy. The hook shot that time a little wide. Can't make it 2 for 2 there, but still got a little nervous. You can keep going now, Logan.
It was a great Zenith blade from Labrov. I'll give him that as well. Level 4, so had that level advantage. So a little bit tanky as we go into this replay. Caps is doing everything he can to get away. But look at Tutsz. He's got very little damage, so had to call in the reinforcements.
Whoa!
Oh!
Labrov's gone! IU picks it up. We come out of the replay into violence of FURIA here. Find themselves 1,300 gold to the goods.
You could almost say
Well,
violence.
looks like G2 want to go home.
Very good. All right, yeah, very nice. All right.
Like Furious Fury.
We'll workshop it. We'll workshop it.
That's it. But another kill for FURIA. They are firmly on the board, 2-0. But critically, that first strike of the game is still up. So this is going to be a slower game. We're not going to be rushing to 4 dragons and get that soul. The grubs are up as well, so in 5 seconds. So jungle objectives, not a high priority.
No, it's not really been about the objectives so far. I mean, part of it, of course, has been a lot of these players wanting to get towards that level 6, towards those ultimate abilities. But as it stands, FURIA with that Camille found themselves those 2 kills. They're the team with the Lee Sin to go with that important support. And they're about to find Labrov again, who's in a potentially tricky spot. Gets here clipped down, hit by that deadly flourish. Hands coming on over, can look for a scout of the week as SkewMond goes in. The hounds pursuit the call of the pack.
Let's
and
go.
they're calling up an ambulance. It's just not for them. They'll head towards the grubs.
Labrov goes in and we're thinking, oh, Labrov, but he tanked it so beautifully.
Oh,
he
God.
gets hit. Oh,
SkewMond gets another one of those R buttons, goes on to Guigo. In comes the heroes,
Nice.
the Tutsz. Unfortunately, the villain in this equation, as the curtains are called, and unfortunately, no one's there to bow.
the heroic entrance from Caps, the hero of G2, able to help turn this fight around, give that protection that they need, the damage absorption, as G2 crowd goes crazy over these 2 kills.
It's not just them, though. You're hearing the counter chants from FURIA. The crowds are in full voice today. It is echoing here in Paris. Towards the replay, though, because this got very close.
Yeah, Labrov here almost got caught out by the 2 members of FURIA and does go down to half health early, but G2 is there to back it up.
Oh,
SkewMond all ins to make sure they get that numbers advantage and scare FURIA off the grubs. But FURIA not done. They're down 4-5. They started again, but they overplay their hand. Caps arrives instantly and prevents any further deaths.
Oh, the hero turns up and is right there to save the day as ever. Really good stuff there. Gets G2 their own couple kills on the board and evens up that gold discrepancy that was going against them. Few hundred to the lead for FURIA, but certainly nothing to write home about.
But something to write home about, SkewMond has completed the first item of the game, has that Cyclo Sword on that Naafiri, so very, very dangerous.
Slightly busted item.
Yep, but Tatu answers in kind and has just picked up his Sundered Sky as well, so has that healing, has that sustain. Will be able to go toe-to-toe, but is down in CS significantly to SkewMond at the moment. So these first items starting to roll through. We've got a couple of kills in the important places, though, ADs and jungles.
We do indeed. And again, well, AD is standing for awesome dudes again. We are back in 2018. Hands on that Syndra. We'll keep our eyes on it. 48 stacks right now in terms of that Syndra passive. Those Splinters of Wrath, which is a great name for an ability, by the by.
I love it. Well said.
And it's 120 is the max stacks. Of course, you get the execute at 100, which is obviously a significant break point into a comp that is very squishy. You get to a point where the Syndra has enough AP, the R button will be pretty lethal here, but ways off that being A genuine one-shot for now. Dragon still untaken 10 minutes into the game, which is fairly late for the meta we were seeing evolve at MSI just last week.
Yeah, literally days ago. Everyone was going for these objectives immediately, but there is a little bit of a scuffle here for that vision control around the Drake, right? Both teams may not be going for it, but both teams want to know when the other one does because they don't want to give it over for free. Because it is such a late Drake, these teams are starting to become powerful. They're hitting those one-item spikes and will be able to fight over these convincingly. For now, though, it's about priority. As Tatu has started up his Drake, G2, though, responding.
And Tatu goes, maybe I don't. Maybe I get out of here. About to face check Labrov there that will hit with a shield, which I feel is a little unfair. Lee's just got some fists. Gonna get him at the Zenith blade as well. This gets a bit spicy. The kick away. Labrov now put in a tricky position. It's tanky enough for now, but in comes Tutsz. Shuriken flip, stunned up, hook shot, not there. The shield to Durand and SkewMond hops out. A couple summoners, but that'll be the end of it.
Labrov tanked basically 3 there. He teased Furia. He's like, I'm going in because I know G2's here, but you want to come into me? Baits them in and then just gets out with the flash. I had to commit it to survive there, otherwise would have gone over to Furia. I like the play. Could have been a little less over-committed. Oh, BrokenBlade.
Good chunk there onto Guigo. Now back down into the hyper. Guigo probably going to need to look to reset here. Does have the teleport. Public execution goes wide. The hero arrives. Caps gets the taunts. And Ambessa goes dancing around, but that's a Drake out step into a 6-foot hole. An early grave for Guigo.
Well played by BB. I thought he was just going for the turret plates to get some gold, but he was baiting Guigo in, and the critical sidestep that changed that fight. If Guigo had been able to hit that, that would have been BB going down, and it would have been Caps alone under the tower in the face of Guigo. So important.
If that had gone another way, we might be having a different conversation as it stands, though. G2 now find themselves up 1,600 gold. They found themselves a lot of those role quest completions as well. Furia lagging behind a little in that, and the early moves that we were seeing with that Camille have just sort of fallen away a little bit. And I am looking at a composition here from Furia that wants this mid-game to be strong. You're there with the Akali. You're there with that very heavy playmaking jungle support. You are, however, very melee, very squishy, and very burst heavy. If you start having this happen to you, I get a touch nervous.
Nerves of steel these players have. Nervous is not a word in their vocabulary. It is confidence. It is all in as another fight brewing. JoJo kicks it off.
It is. There's a shield from JoJo with the adaptive defenses. Labrov still only level 5. The level 6s are beginning to come on through as the catch-up experience begins to do a little work there. JoJo has got that one, as we noted. Back to the river we go. Herald a minute and a half away. So at this point, really what we're playing for is priority in the river, control in the river, and a replay to come on up to see exactly what happened on this top lane dive.
Yeah, so BB and Guigo were just trading as normal. BB trying to get this wave pushed in because he knows Caps is nearby, but back to live, we're fighting again.
Oh boy, I got caught drinking there for a second. My water comes on in as G2 murder the Camille, but it's traded back well enough. The TP's flying. SkewMond in danger, flashes away. Guigo with the shield of the repudiate. Shut down. Jhin finds himself a curtain call to remember.
SkewMond did a really good job there of delaying, but it felt inevitable. Holding that 4th shot so long, IU was, that it just wasn't good enough for SkewMond. They had vision control on him. G2 tried to respond, but they just weren't quick enough. So this is a really good contest. We're 4 apiece. Furia has completed all their role quests. 1,000 gold diff in favor of G2, so they've been able to claw it back from Furia. But if you take a look at that vision control, G2 are the ones in control because they want this topside objective. They're preparing for that Rift Herald in 20 seconds, and there is another Drake up. It will be the second of the game, though. So again, really, really slow on these Drakes. I can't see this being the win condition for either team. I have to imagine it's going to be a Baron and a Force.
See how that one works again. It will be a very late Dragon in general. First one went the way of G2 alongside those scrubs. And again, you're the team with the Gnar, with that ability to come collapsing with that global. So theoretically, a win condition there, especially if BB goes something like that Trinity Force Black Cleaver build rather than something like the Sterax to really get some value out of the grub. SkewMond currently soloing out the Heralds. Are we going to see a contest? We might well do, though Furia a little late over here, but they're considering it for sure. Guigo now here, ults all rolling, flashes a little bit more scarce, and that will probably mean that G2 pick that one up. Ends up being a little bit of Safari League of Legends for Furia. Go, wow, wow, there's the wildlife, and back away.
But I do want to point out...
Oh, hang on. That was nearly an interrupt. JoJo went looking on the ward recall interrupt. Didn't quite find it though.
Yeah. But I do want to point out, even though FURIA lost the Rift Herald, the value of their vision control in that area. They knew G2 was starting up. They knew how many members and which members of G2. So they were like, you know what? We can't contest this. We're going to let them have it. And that's a smart play. So they got cross-map. They started feeding gold into their other players in other lanes, gave that Rift Herald over. They said, that's a fight we'll worry about a little bit later. Because if you look at it, no turrets have gone down yet. They're all pretty healthy. Even the mid lane for G2 is still on the maximum amount of turrets it can be. So FURIA, they're not getting onto these turrets. They need to start.
I mean, you've got a Jhin and double melees in your solo lanes. Hell, even your jungle and support are melees. Your ability to get to those turrets is somewhat limited here, unless you manage to get the fight that gives you just numbers advantage to walk at turrets.
Things coming down around this Drake. They're going to contest for this one. Labrov just getting that vision down. JoJo.
Okay. Damage is there, the Hextech ultimatum, the solar flare into a load of ults. Oh my days, the Syndra just presses in cut caps with the TP, the shield, and Durand locks them all in space. Power is unleashed, and G2 find themselves a couple to the goods.
Labrov is starting these fights and he's taking so much damage, but it buys G2 the time to collapse and take FURIA to the cleaners. It was a clean fight from G2 there, taking 2 of FURIA and buying themselves a priority to get that second Drake of the game, and their stacking is on and they're 2k up.
And Labrov's now just picked up a Protoplasm Harness as well. The ability to pick a Leona through the Eclipse, through the Aftershock. Eclipse the ability, not the item, just to clarify, they are two things. League of Legends and words that are used in multiple places.
We know what we're talking about.
Exactly. Just to clarify, guys. The big shield that Leona puts up, alongside that Protoplasm Harness, killing this Leona off first, I think might be an exercise in madness.
And almost an exercise in futility as well. Labrov, yes, 0-2 and 5, but Labrov has lived more than he's died in these fights. As we go back to this Drake fight as it starts out here, Han Sama is in that mid lane and rotates down through the top side, but JoJo starts it on Labrov. Labrov eats 2, 3. He eats almost all 4 of the shots of IU. Where is Jhin's damage going? Not into who matters. And that buys the time for G2 to collapse and take FURIA out.
And as usual in this game, we come out of the replay into more action. 6-4 in the kills, but it feels like there's definitely been a bit of a fracas at any given moment. Tutsz now coming up towards his top lane, where of course Caps has managed to get that level advantage. A couple of kills to the good here. He's got the Hollow Radiance. There's another stun into the wall and a nasty chunk onto Guigo there, who may need to start backing away as the Hyper Procs begin to mount. That boomerang just a touch short there. Turret number 1 falls for G2, and that gold lead begins to balloon to a notable margin.
Yeah, the first turret going down at 18:36 is fairly slow by today's standards, but I just want to point out as well, Labrov
on the jungle as we finally
is a level up and a completed item up as well over JoJo.
He is. He's in a really good spot there. Got a little nervous with SkewMond hanging around at that blue buff, just hopping over with the Eviscerate, but just some trading. I think it's more manageable. BrokenBlade hasn't left. The public execution is a very public whiff. And BrokenBlade breaks the ankles of Guigo.
He's doing it all game long. It's almost impossible for Guigo to hit an ult on the BB. This man is a natural-born ballerina. The moves he has, the slides he has got. This is the MSI BrokenBlade, and he is here to win it.
A ballerina, you say, well, that suddenly gives a new meaning to on point, doesn't it? What a player. When given the opportunity, a player that at points has been criticised that may be a little too streaky, maybe not good enough for international. Well, how'd he do at MSI? How's he doing here? The upper end of this player is really just very special, isn't it? FURIA, of course, not out of it here. You're still looking at the Jhin, who, if he can pick up a few more items, will still be very scary. The problem is, with all of these grubs and Guigo struggling in the 1v1, these tier 2s are beginning to fall, and the structure gold is just strong. Oh, we even get the T-Tours. Thank you, Observer, for the Chris Nolan Cup.
This is the addition that I do want to see, my friend, as we see JoJo deep in enemy territory, trying to get sort of some vision control down, just to know what G2 is doing. Tatu clearing his camps out. The Baron is now up at the 20-minute mark, and the third Drake of the game, another 2 minutes, but the Rift Herald.
Charge. Lands, and it's gone. And now suddenly all those outer turrets are gone, and the gold really has gotten to a difficult position. 5,000 gold is more than a little alarming for the FURIA fans out there, I have no doubt. Gonna try and play back as well when the vision's beginning to fall. Are you with a Captain Jack gets on out of there? You remember the day you almost got the FURIA AD carry.
That's right. Han Sama 2-0, Caps 2-1, SkewMond 2-1. BrokenBlade has not died.
This is
FURIA,
over.
they're not without their answers. If Tatu can find an angle, if they can protect IU and get that damage onto the right targets, FURIA are still very much in this. They can compete with G2 here. However, G2, they have the aggression, they have the priority.
Labrov went looking there, but over the wall went Tatu. Now the curtains get caught. Han Sama getting tied by some of those bullets, but Labrov still about alive. Tatu gets taken by the bleed. The darkened daggers. A little too poisonous. Tutsz potentially in danger of the shielded around, just about able to escape there on the Akali.
How does Labrov keep living? He tanks so many shots, he takes so much damage, and it prevents it from going on to Han Sama. He protects the AP carry of G2 so well. This bot lane, they are synergized, and with the priority off of that fight, they're able to turn it into that Baron because there is no jungler alive for FURIA. They cannot smite this. They have to give this one over. They don't even have vision. G2, free Baron.
It's going to be a relatively slow Baron as there is no AD carry in a Syndra as your damage deal. Of course, SkewMond on the Naafiri, perhaps a little bit more able to offer that Baron DPS, and it will go down easy as you like. They'll pick that one up. JoJo goes looking for Labrov, but we've seen this one before, guys. Are we sure? Eclipse into Aftershock, and he only loses a third of his HP bar. He's still got a protoplasm harness to work with.
Labrov's like, I ain't recalling up for that. You need to do better because I am still ready to go. Caps has been everywhere, and we look at this, right? 8 kills over to G2. SkewMond, he's been involved in 6 of them.
Caps has got to be a little careful here, actually. Gets hit by the public execution. Hero's entrance away, though, and he'll be right as rain.
He knew it. He played that one fantastically. The moment the knock-up was used, he's like, up, I'm out of here. Hero's exit, if you will. Is it very heroic if you're leaving the fight?
I feel like heroes learning to run away is an important part of the medium.
Strategic, what is a strategic return, something like that.
Strategic retreat, that's the one.
As we do see, SkewMond is on the 3rd Drake of the game. Again, we call it, it's slow Drakes, but this will get their stacking. It is an Infernal, and it will be an Infernal Soul, which means extra poke damage.
And what we did see from the likes of AG.AL, from the likes of BLG at first, and is you can give up some of those dragons if you can kind of do this. Play elsewhere, play for the structures, and maybe, just maybe, a kill or two.
Nasty with it. Labrov kicked that off with a Zenith Blade into the Q, into the Solar Flare, and nothing JoJo could do. But I was saying before, 9 kills. Labrov has been a part of 7 of them. Labrov is everywhere in this game, and he's just surviving. He hasn't died in over 10 minutes.
And again, another one of those players who got a little criticised or questions about him joining G2. He's been having a great old time over the last tournament or so, and continues his MSI form with pretty strong showings here on this Leona.
Tutsz was forced to hold out. SkewMond's chasing.
Hang on, they're going to get a victory. Oh my god, he's dead! Well, the Dark and Daggers land, and the Akali is dead for rights.
G2, they have a numbers advantage. They're sieging.
They can keep rolling.
Yeah, they've got the Baron, but they've got 2 waves here with...
Oh, IU just flashed under his own turret. That's unfortunate. The nerves perhaps getting to him a little here. 3-0, but I think this might be a tricky old hold. The Nexus turret's under siege. G2, unrelenting. Implacable.
Caps is keeping Guigo away. Has the ult to join the fight if he needs to as well.
Flash behind the curtain call, just wide. Can't wanted that one. Angelina Jolie will shake her head. They go in, the heroes.
Come on, kill the Nexus.
G2 in the heart of Paris will win their first game at the Esports World Cup 2026.
G2 beat FURIA in the BO1 convincingly. It was close to start, but G2, the veterans, were able to chip away at FURIA and just snowball from there. You can hear the crowd so ecstatic that G2 took this one, but this is an upper bracket. FURIA, they go down to the lower bracket. They still have another chance here at EWC 2026.
Indeed, indeed. And again, we were wondering what we were going to see from G2 after what is a very tough schedule.